Welcome to this week's episode of MLM Renegade. Today we're going to talk about something that nobody wants to talk about, nobody really wants to go through: rejection. So here's the million-dollar question. How are network marketers like us, who've tried everything their upline ever suggested to be successful, and yet still struggled, who grew up with technology and aren't stuck in the 20th century, how are we supposed to grow our downlines and our bank accounts and yet still have time for real life? My name is J.R. McKee. Join me as we explore how to use 21st century learning and technology to grow our downlines and build lasting wealth. Simply put, this is MLM done different. Welcome to MLM Renegade. All right, guys. This week, I wanted to talk about something that's hard for people. That it's hard to think about. It's hard to want to endure, and that's rejection. And it happens to all of us. In fact, if you're really working hard in any business, rejection is frankly a natural part of what we do each and every day. So this week I wanted to think about it, and I've been ruminating on this subject here for a few days, really, as I wanted to really give the subject its full due. I've been working on a few things. I've been working on some opportunities. I've been working on some ideas, and the beginning of this week specifically, one of those was ready to come to fruition. Until it didn't. And that sucks. I'd gotten right to the very bitter end. It was an opportunity for some serious, with some serious upside. And I didn't get it. I didn't. They decided to go with a different option, and that's okay. And I say that because I have full faith that everything works out for a specific reason. And, I had actually, from an employment point of view, I had an example of this pop up actually this week as well. And a few years ago, I had been interviewing for a sales position, with a company locally here. And what was funny is the guy who was interviewing for it, he was the vice president of sales. Well, my wife and I and our kids, we had just been on vacation in Maui. And it turns out that I actually ran into this guy before my interview with him. I ran into this guy on a boat. We were going snorkeling in Maui. And, first of all, okay, the guy's wearing a University of Utah hat, which is a dead giveaway. Oh, you must be from Utah. And it was interesting. So we got to talk, and we're sitting there. We got kids kind of similar ages. They're running around, they're playing, and we're on this boat. It was incredibly windy, so we were all kind of huddled up in this one area that was forward of the ship's bridge, and it was, but it wasn't so windy, so we were actually able to have a conversation. Nice guy, similar in age to me. Our kids were similar ages, and anyway, I go and I interview with him, and I feel like this interview goes great. We have a second interview, and he brings in some other people on the team who are going to, who were interviewing me, and I really felt like it went well. And then it kind of went off the rails, and nothing happened. And I followed up, and he's like, yeah, and he just kind of was wishy-washy and waffled a little bit, and didn't give me a real solid reason why they weren't going to offer me a job. At this point, I was kind of desperate. At that point, I was actually unemployed, and I needed a job, and so I was frustrated at the time. And my faith kicked in, and, it'll be okay. Things work out, and they don't always go the way that I would like them to, but they go the way that they should go. Well, this week, I was on LinkedIn and see, oh, hey, this guy's changed jobs. And I go and I looked at his LinkedIn profile. In fact, he was at that job where he interviewed me only about 8 months longer than when he interviewed me. So I was like, okay, well, maybe that was a major bullet that I missed, because obviously something went wrong. If if the vice president left or was fired, bad things happen. One of the great things about being in sales is your numbers speak for you. If you do good, it's going to show, and if you do bad, it's also going to show. And so it's very, very cut and dry of what the value that you're bringing to the organization. And so when you don't produce, you don't have a job for very long. Now, thankfully, I've been lucky and I've been supported enough at home that I've been able to be successful in my sales jobs, and I've done it for a long, long time. But this particular sales job that I failed at this week, it hurt. Now, it happens. I've had other times when I had a 6-figure deal that blew up in my face on the day that it was supposed to sign, and it turned out that I got rejected because somebody far down the line, who was an underling of an underling of an underling, literally we're talking like 4 levels removed, they said, no, I'm the one who has to do all the work here, and I don't want to do that. And so my deal got blown up right in my face. And it taught me something, though. I taught, okay, who's going to be the person who actually has to do this work, right? Who's going to be the person who's actually implementing what I'm trying to sell? And that's one of those things that I learned and I took with me, and I use every single time I'm in a selling situation. I dig deeper and I dig deeper and I dig deeper, and I want to find out who's really involved in the decision-making process, because somebody is going to be involved who isn't going to be your friend. Guaranteed, if you're trying to sell something, there is going to be somebody on the other side who does not want to buy or want the organization that they work with to buy or to buy from you. It happens. I am not for everybody. I get that, and that's okay. I wish them well. And, you know, the folks that rejected me this week, I wish them well too. They've got some really cool things going for them, and I think they'll be okay. But I always leave the door open, because 9 times out of 10, something will come back around. Somebody will leave a job that they're at and go to another job, and all of a sudden, I have an opportunity. And so it's always important that when the door closes, don't just think that that's the end. You know, in network marketing, we talk about no doesn't mean no. No means not right now. And in a lot of ways, not right now is the answer. Now, rejection is one of these things that happens. Now, as a nerdy teenage kid with bad hair and even worse acne, I can say that I got rejected plenty growing up. And maybe it's hardened, it's toughened, calloused me a little bit, but really it's just turned me into that 120-pound 13-year-old who got rejected by a pretty girl. And I'm maybe a 40-year-old version of that kid inside. But what I've learned over and over is that when I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, when I'm working in the direction towards my goals, the path isn't always as clear as I would like it to be. And sometimes there's rejection in that path. And as I've learned over and over, the obstacle truly becomes the way. And so how I overcome this obstacle, how I overcome this rejection, how I overcome this immediate circumstance really will help to accelerate my growth and help me to become a better person and a better seller ultimately in the long run. So, there's a book that I've got on my bookshelf here called Go for No. And there's 2 different camps in the world of network marketing, or really in business in general. And as much as people don't want to say network marketing is a business, when you run it for yourself, it truly is a business for yourself. Okay? The product may not be yours, but the business, if you treat it like a business, can be a business for yourself. And so I try and make MLM Renegade really applicable to all entrepreneurship in general, because truly that's what I'm passionate about. That's what I really enjoy. But back to my point. Go for no, there's 2 different camps, right? There are the people who think that go for no is like the only way to do things, and people who think that go for no is the stupidest way of doing things. Now, thankfully, I've had some perspective, and I've been able to see things on both sides. Now, in network marketing, go for no comes in 2 different flavors. Go for no is go and ask everybody who you ever get in the same airspace with, and ask them if they want to join your business, or ask them if they want to buy from you, or ask them. Okay, that's the go for no that I have a hard time with. Now, in the book itself, it basically says that you should go and actually, instead of setting goals for sales or goals for appointments made or whatever else, you should actually set the number of no's that you want to receive. Because if you're going after a no, it's not going to be nearly so emotionally damaging when you get one. Because, hey, I'm trying to get 100 no's this week. Well, you get pretty calloused pretty quick. And then all of a sudden, guess what happens? You get yeses. And, it's like the watch pot never boils. If you're not paying attention to how many yeses you get, all of a sudden you get them easier, right? It's a little bit of psychology and reverse psychology in that. Now, going for no in a business sense, I use regularly. It really becomes that mentality of removing the emotion from the sale really leads to some fantastic results. So going for that no can be a way of taking that rejection and turning it into a positive. Many times I think that we have to actually harness that power of no and sometimes use it for ourselves. The most powerful position you can be in when you're selling is the takeaway. When somebody wants something and you're like, nah, I don't think so, and they chase you further. I've talked before about the difference between a cat and a dog, right? We have 2 dogs at our house. Lucy, when she comes up to you, she will lick you to death, and then she will lay down and roll over, show you her belly, and like, you can pet me now. She's a little over the top. She's a lot over the top. In fact, Tank, our bulldog, is even more so, and he's crazy. But the problem is he's like 90 pounds and he's a sack of cement basically. He's just huge and bulky, and if he wants to take you down, guess what? You're on the floor. That's how it goes. Well, a cat, on the other hand, what do? They turn around and look at you, you're like, oh, you're home. And so what happens? The owner chases after them. Here, kitty, kitty. And what happens over time? They say, oh, yeah, maybe I'll take a look. And they continue to chase, and they continue to chase. When we're in a position of chasing, we're in a position of no power. When we're in a position to be the cat, when we're in a position to take away, to say no, we're in a position of power. Rejection can give us that power, whether we are issuing the rejection or whether we are taking the rejection. It's our choice where that puts us. It is our choice whether or not it puts us in a position of downtrodden or upbeat. I can be positive. When I got rejected, my initial reaction was to be downtrodden. And my initial reaction lasted a couple hours, I'll be honest. I had been really keyed up and really excited for the opportunity, and it failed. But when I went back and I looked at it, I thought, you know what? Everything will work out. I feel okay about this. Maybe this wasn't the right thing. Who knows? It could have been a disaster 6 months down the road, and I would have been stuck in a horrible situation. Maybe that's what I've been spared for. Okay? Meanwhile, I continue to plug ahead. I continue to plug on. I continue to fill the pipeline of sales. I continue to work through my network of people to actually talk with people who are genuinely interested. Literally today, I looked at some of our sales volumes, and lo and behold, hey, a customer who I haven't talked with in months ordered a fairly sizable order. I'm like, hey, cool. Well, guess what? I'm obviously going to reach out to them. One, because they're great people, and I wanted to be engaged with them from the beginning anyway. And 2, because like, hey, cool, what'd you buy? But as it came out, in the end, rejection can save us from a lot of pain. It can cause plenty if we let it. We can't let it, but it can save us from plenty. And there's always, when an opportunity door closes, a window will open, and there's always something that good comes from, that comes good out of it. And it was really funny. I'm on Gary Vaynerchuk's text message list. Like I get a text from Gary V basically daily, and he's got different posts. And he sent one this afternoon, literally like 2 hours ago. It says, whatever is bothering you right now, take a breath in this text and put it into context. I believe in you. Next month will be better. Like, what a stud. Okay, I mean, Gary V he's definitely a loudmouth. He definitely has a pretty foul mouth. He's, from Jersey. But like sending out that sort of information to the world, okay, only good things are going to come back from it. And when we view rejection in the right light, only good things are going to come out of it. So this week, take the rejection that's staring you in the face, the rejection that you don't want to admit to, the rejection that might be really hard, and work through it. The obstacle is the way. That obstacle is going to be what propels you to future success and the success that I know that you've got coming. I'm excited for next week, guys. We've got a cool interview coming up, and I can't wait to share it with you. Have a great day. Hey, thanks for listening, and please remember to subscribe. And if you loved us, leave us an awesome review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you consume your podcasts. Now, if you'd like some free training for your team on how your recruiting efforts can be bettered and brought into the 21st century, go to podcast.mlmrenegade.com and get your copy of the Renegade Recruiting Kickstarter.